Masterpiece Soundwave. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2B's Gundam.tk, and today I'm here, even though 99.9% of my videos are about Gundam, there are just sometimes some toys that are just so cool that you just cannot pass them up, and I'm talking specifically here today about the Masterpiece Soundwave from Takara Tomy. I'm still not used to adding that Tomy onto their name. January 2013 release, 16,590 Japanese yen for the MSRP, although you wouldn't know it from looking at the box. So any Transformer fans who have wandered over here, well, bear with me as I'm going to be taking a look at this much in a similar manner to the way that I usually look at Gundam plastic models. And Gundam fans, if you're saying, why Soundwave, doesn't he look pretty old? Well, that's exactly the point, because growing up, I had a Soundwave G1 toy, as did pretty much everyone I know, and like everybody else's, mine got transformed far too many times, with a whole bunch of sounds getting made all the time, and eventually the door fell off, all the weapons and accessories and the cassettes all got lost, and he probably got sold in a garage sale, something I regret to this day. And even though Takara and Hasbro, to a lesser extent, have been doing a good job with reissues and the masterpieces, which have always caught my eye, none of them have caught my eye enough to shell out the money until this one came out, so I can't wait to see how it stacks up. This Transformers masterpiece is the equivalent of a perfect grade, and it's number 13 in the series, although there have been a lot of specials and some version 2.0s along the way. It's listed there as Destron Communications instead of Decepticons, with the name Soundwave, and they don't mention here on the side, but it's also going to be including Condor or Laserbeak. To kick things off with the packaging, you've just got that great packaging that's held true for all of the Masterpiece line. You've got some black on the background, and then some nice glossy. It actually feels like it's raised up there, as we get to see it in his stereo cassette device mode, as well as in his transform mode there. Laserbeak, it looks like he's just jumped out of the chest, although ironically, he's still inside. Nonetheless, this is going to catch your eye on the shelves for both of its modes, not to mention the fact that it would be a lot of fun to have a lot more of these guys, all being sent out to go fight Blaster. To the back for the box tour, you can see the names there in English and in Japanese. There it is, Destron Information Officer Soundwave. And you can see that they are going to mix in a little bit of English there, as it stores in chest. And this is always a nice touch. You got to wonder, though, why the package is going to have to be this big, as it's showing off the actual size down there, 22 centimeters here for Soundwave. The leader of the Cassettrons, you can see some information here about the anime, and yes, from Fight, Super Robot Lifeform Transformers, as it was called back in the day. You can see a whole bunch of information there. Of more interest is going to be the robot mode that they're going to show off. Weapon in hand and Laserbeak perched very coolly on the arm, something that you used to be able to do, but definitely with not as cool as a pose. Now they mention over here that there's 3 cassettes that you can actually put in the chest, so Sound Blaster, Eat Your Heart Out. And over here, you're going to show off the most important feature, which is the Cassettron's ejecting. You can see that he can press the button on his shoulder. That's one of the reasons why this is a masterpiece. And they are going to show 3 shooting out there. This one's going to be included on the right. And if you want to hang on till February and March, you can buy 2 2-packs there and get some more of those. And it's even cool, they're going to mention that you can swap these out with the Generation 1 cassettes. But more focus on what you're actually going to get here, as you've got Aerial Attacking Warrior Condor there, transformed into his cassette mode and his bird mode. It looks like he can sit on the forearm and on the shoulder. Very nice features. Again, something you could do, but not all that well. And we're going to have some more information about the various modes. Fitting for a masterpiece, he's going to have a rich number of options, and you can recreate a number of famous scenes from the anime there. From the episode Inka's Treasure down there, you can see that you can switch off his left hand. Actually, not switch it off. You can actually plug it back inside to the forearm and attach the sensor on there, something that we saw in the episode. And, of course, you can take the very famous Energon cubes here and attach it onto his chest there, which is going to look really cool. And again, something that we saw as Megatron was getting up to his get-rich-through-oil scheme of the week. For weapons, Soundwave's main one over here, we've got the Concussion Blaster, is going to transform here from battery mode into gun mode there. And it's sort of cool because back in the day, losing that silver thing was the first thing that I think happened to everybody. Even though you may have actually kept the batteries plugged into the back there, it's also going to be interesting to see that this is going to transform without having to swap anything out, and the electric launcher will do the same. That looks like it's just going to swing up over the shoulder, no need to pop it into the back panel. More fun scenes to recreate, as we got to see Megatron transform into a powerful gun and then shrink down into something that fit in Starscream or Soundwave's hands there. You can recreate that here, and it's going to have the nice touch that you can take the scope, the silencer, and the stock actually often just have Megatron in his pistol form. And whenever you're displaying some diabolical plans here, you're going to have a display panel here, which you can actually attach on to the chest eject part, and it's looking pretty good there. It remains to be seen how it's going to work out of the box, though. Now, kids today with their iPods and no onions on their belts may be wondering about whether it was a Walkman or a stereo cassette. Stereo cassette is what they're going to go with in Japan. Nonetheless, he's going to look great in his robot mode, and even cooler it looks like here in his device mode. The set contents are laid out on the bottom of the package, and you can see that the electric launcher is going to be attached onto him in his robot mode there. Condor and his case is going to come there, concussion blaster, Megatron gun there, and then you're going to have a display panel and the Energon cube to go along with the sensor to attach onto the hand. 2 character cards there for the 2 people that come inside. People they are not, even though they are life forms, strangely enough. And a booklet there, which is going to give you the instructions on how to actually do, oh yes, the transformation. Now it's time, so inside the box we go, where you're going to be treated to a big piece of plastic bubbles there. And when you take it out of the actual package, and with the plastic off, we get our first full look at this piece of 80s masterpiece brought back to life. The package underneath is going to have the card here, MP13 Soundwave and Destron Interrogation. Doesn't seem to be what it says in Japanese anyway there. Condor. Here's the back with Condor's regular title there, and down below you can see robot mode and cassette mode with some stats. Sometimes they refer to this as his bird form throughout the manual, but there's the main man himself, Soundwave there, Destron Information Agent, and his device mode to go along with the robot mode, stats, and of course his famous slogan, cries and screams, are music to his ears. To the manual itself, where we've got some simple, old-school, nice-looking artwork there, and it looks to be a pretty good representation of the actual toy that we're getting inside. There's the title there, and when you flip it open inside, again, the information about the packages there. No plates to go and deal with there. If you want to go talk to Takara Tomy, though, there's the phone number down below. No missing parts to order. Here's some more information about Soundwave with some great art there. Looks like Rumbler Frenzy coming out as well. And when you go inside, they're going to go through it part by part with very nice, very clear, well-laid-out instructions here. Concussion blaster, and they're actually going to show off sometimes the name of the episode that it showed up in and an actual scene from the anime there, so pretty nice there. 4 parts to the transformation, 3-finger trigger finger split it looks like there, and the electric launcher is going to swing up there on the right side. Here's the sensor from the Inca's treasure there on his left hand. As you can see that's going to attach on there nicely, and you can actually plug it into the back when he's stored in his device mode. The Megatron gun here, it's going to list down below that you can give it to MP10 Convoy or MP11 Starscream, which are sold separately, and put them in hand. And here you can see how it comes apart. Yes, gather around, Transformers, it's the 80s. Flat screens don't exist except on Soundwave's chest, as I reveal our new plan to go and dominate the world oil supply. Anyway, here you get the display panel, which you can do. You're going to have these things, and this is very disappointing, because if you flip to the back of the manual, you've got the display sheets written down here, and they're actually going to tell you to go and cut these out right out of the manual, and then you would take those and put them under the display panel as you put them on, as Soundwave can point at various things. A color scanner here may be your friend. The Energon cube included is of the colorless variety, nothing fancy and pink about that, but you can see you could just pop the cap off and put it onto the chest. Eject is the best verb to think of if you think of Soundwave, and you can see that it's going to be pretty simple to put the cassettes into the chest there, but it's going to be a little bit more complicated if you want to go with all 3, so it's worth taking a look at the directions here. Make sure you open it up, and then it's going to tell you just to push it in 1 step here. You can actually push it in 2 as well if you do want to, but then they're going to tell you to put in 1 cassette, and then you can go ahead and start putting in more cassettes there after you've actually pushed the first one back, if that makes sense. So push it in 1 step, put the cassette in, then push the cassette back another step, and then add in more cassettes, is the way that they're telling you to do that. Old school Transformers and old school YouTube means I keep my parts to 10 minutes, so why don't you let me know what you've thought of the unbox so far, and stick around to see the parts, and of course the robot and device mode, and back and forth. Can't wait to see how it works. Anyway, love to hear from you Gundam fans and Transformer fans, and of course if you are both, you'll have a unique take on this. Anyway, everybody, as always, thanks for watching. See you next time. Master grade Soundwave. Recolors. It never does get old, does it?